welcome to the Gaia update for the full moon in Virgo happening March 1st, 2018. I'm Adrienne Elise. So with this full moon, we have a lot of planets lining up in the sky. A bunch of Pisces energy, of course the sun in Pisces, but also Venus and Mercury. And of course, Neptune and Chiron have been there for quite a while. So 5 planets in Pisces, bringing us this huge energy of Pisces. Speaking to, it's interesting because there's a powerful conjunction happening just after this full moon between Mercury and Venus, and they will be close enough for this full moon that we're feeling that. But that happens at 27 degrees Pisces. And in numerology, when you add up the numbers 2 and 7, of course, you come to 9. And 9 is a completion number. It's the end. And so we're talking about looking back at this Piscean age as we move into the Aquarian age, and a completion energy here. So it's interesting that we just had the Chinese New Year, moving into Chinese New Year, and now we're having this energy of completion. So we've got doorways opening. Eclipses are always about that. We've just had these 2 powerful eclipses, and so we've got doorways opening and doorways closing. So a really good time for completion energy in your life, especially where you feel like you've been victimized, because Mercury and Venus in Pisces are also coming up with a conjunction with Chiron, the wounded healer, all there at the end of Pisces and at that 27 degrees. And so this is speaking to a completion of this energy. So Chiron is the wounded healer. In Pisces, it's really about being victimized as the wounded healer. But Chiron in our chart is also the shaman, where we take those deeper wounds and we put them into power to be able to help and heal the world. So this is a big shift available for us right now, collectively and individually, to come out of our victimhood and into empowerment. And that's a big shift in April when Chiron moves into Aries. So we're kind of having a completion, even though Chiron will go back into Pisces for a little bit later this year, but we're really moving into new energy here around with the wounded healer making this shift. So Mercury is our ruler of Virgo, so very powerful right now and for this full moon in a conjunction with Venus. Now Mercury is our day-to-day understanding and our perception and communication, and so with Venus the Virgin, we have this energy of understanding more. What Venus means in our chart is what we really care about, what we love, what makes us happy. It's our value system, as also our self-worth. So it's interesting that we're having this completion energy around victimhood, and then a reevaluation of our self-worth and our value system. And this is so key for what's happening in the world right now. It's like as starseeds come into age and the indigos come into their empowerment, we are looking at a revaluation in our society of what's really important. And that's a lot of like foreshadowing into the Aquarian age, a more egalitarian, a world that's better for all of us, and more based on universal love and compassion, rather on competition and delusion of what was happened in the Piscean age. So Mercury, the messenger, hanging out with Venus, the goddess, and our self-worth, and reevaluating. You know, if we're in victim, it's hard to have self-worth, right? I mean, they kind of go together. And so the goddess has a huge empowerment opportunity this year, the feminine side of ourselves. So these planets hanging out there with Chiron, the wounded healer, a conjunction of 3 planets, then in a square. They're going to be in a square with Mars in Sagittarius. And so this is a mutable square. We're having a ton of mutable energy. This is kind of good right now, even though it's like we've got this Pisces energy of confusion and delusion can be part of the Pisces energy. But it's also a mutable sign, meaning that there's flexibility there. So there's a huge opportunity to adjust to a new reality, this information that has come in these eclipses, and disclosure of what's happening in the world. And so we're in an adjustment period of time, and it's an acute period of adjustment where with all these Pisces energy, we might feel confused about the truth. But really what's happening is we're in an adjustment phase. And so it's kind of a time to sit tight, to dream, vision, meditate, connect with source, let the emotions flow. Release that victimhood, that pain that has been defining you, and rework that self-worth is really what this full moon is about. And in Virgo, Virgo is the virgin. It's about cleaning the wheat from the chaff. It's about cleaning up our world, seeing the truth and discriminating. So we need this energy right now. It's really helpful. This full moon in Virgo is going to, the eclipse cycle isn't quite done until the following moon. So we had that last eclipse on February 15th. And so this full moon on March 1st is going to be a completion of the eclipse cycle. We're still in the strange portal that happens around eclipses. And so this is speaking to all of this stuff that's come in. So Mars is the warrior. And Mars likes being in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the seeker. It wants to go out there and go beyond the veil and seek. But with this Venus, Mercury, and Chiron squaring up with Mars, where the warrior energy is about this self-worth and revaluation within and understanding what really matters to us. So it's an inner battle. That Mars is, even though he's seeking outside beyond the veil, in a square with Mercury and Venus, these personal planets, and Chiron, the wounded healer, speaking to the victimhood of our past. We're really have an opportunity, and especially with Virgo energy wanting to clean it up and discriminate, we're having an opportunity to be a warrior within for our own self-worth. And completely dropping, it's an opportunity to completely drop the stories that have kept us victimized and feeling small in our world, small and worthless. And so that's the feminine in all of us. We all have male and female within, and so we're all getting kind of a revaluation of our internal worth, and whether our feelings and our senses and our intuition and our sense of peace and harmony have any value in this world. So it's a really powerful time. Now, the other thing is that these planets, Mercury, Venus, and Chiron, are also trining up with Jupiter. Jupiter at 23 degrees Scorpio, ready to take this retrograde on March 9th. And so it's in the retrograde shadow. It's just like slowing down. The whole month of February has just been like slowing down, ready to go in this retrograde, ready to go back through this Scorpio energy again. What did we miss? We blew out the shadow. We blew out the mud. We cleaned out the closet, but now we got to go sort through the rubble and kind of figure out what we want to get rid of. Those belief systems, things that have been holding us back, that victimization energy. And so it's just kind of a weird time because all the other planets are direct right now. So we're really feeling this Jupiter moving into getting ready for this retrograde. But trines are harmonious, and Jupiter in general, transits with Jupiter are harmonious. And so this is a beautiful energy. It's like, that's okay, you guys. We can clean up this shadow, and we can get out of victim, and we can raise our self-worth. We can become the pure goddess within again, and trusting our intuition and our feelings, and valuing ourselves as human beings, and standing up for what's right and true in the world, and having this internal, taking the warrior within to be able to slay those demons that are in our shadows of our belief systems, conditioning, the lies we've been told, lies upon lies upon lies in our collective consciousness, as well as just belief systems in our family or societal conditioning that have kept us feeling small and disempowered. So this is really, the goddess is claiming back her throne right now on the planet and within each of us. This is both men and women. As this Virgo energy, the Virgin, it's a new perception around our self-worth and our value, and the value of how we feel, the value of what's beautiful, the value of our intuitive knowing, and our sense of peace and harmony. What if we based our world on these things? I know it's very different from what's been happening, like terror and fear and war and poverty. That's been the paradigm, right? But it's really hard for humans to have self-worth in that paradigm. And so we're all individually claiming our right to come out of this victimhood and move into a new reality of our future. So the other thing that's happening on this full moon is that the sun, opposite the moon, so the moon is making an opposition, the sun is conjuncting Neptune. So not only do we have all these planets in Pisces, we have a conjunction of Mercury, Venus, and Chiron, and then we have a conjunction of the sun and Neptune opposing the moon. So Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. This is about our connection to a religious feeling of spirituality, of a connection, something greater than us. But in the Piscean age, this connection was exactly what was used to keep us in this victimhood, in this martyr place, the distorted version of the Christian mythology, of the Christ mythology. And so we're clearing all this up right now. And it's interesting because a lot of that has to do with the whole virgin, Virgo is the virgin, and it's the goddess kind of cleaning its act up. And it's interesting because Jupiter is in the sign of Scorpio, which also rules the shadow, also rules sexuality. And so it's kind of like we are having an opportunity to clear sexual distortion that has kind of become deep, innately embedded into our false reality or false identity. And the truth is, it's like, sexual energy is just energy. It's not, there's nothing wrong or bad or dirty about it. We've made it dirty and distorted by not valuing ourselves and valuing other people, with just sexual distortion and taking advantage of people. And so it's interesting because it's like the sun and Neptune coming together, opposing the moon in Virgo, is and having this kind of other planets trining up with Jupiter in Scorpio, is an opportunity to rework our identity and clear these shadowy places of this programming and this disease of our culture and sexual distortion and entities of ancestral entities and kind of belief systems around this sexual distortion, and keeping us victimized, in fear of sexual energy. That's really the energy, and sexual energy is just energy. It is the same as chi. It's just concentrated. It's the same as electricity. And we have it in our body, but we've been programmed to think it's dirty, wrong, and bad, fearful, and shameful. And that's what's really led to the sexual distortion and all of the pain that's been caused by sexual violation. So we're kind of getting a whole reworking of this story right now. And it's a powerful, incredible full moon, because it's like we had some lightning come through with those eclipses and like a portal into a new energy. But now we're sorting through it to see what it really means. And this is an opportunity to step out of all of these stories, clear a bunch of baggage and karma over many lifetimes, and kind of just like be a front runner right now. Like choose self-worth, choose the real story of that fear and hatred is what's keeping us back, and forgiveness and love is what's going to move us forward. And just find a way to clear this deep inner shadows and love yourself and others and the bigger story, because all of this we've gone through, trauma and war and distortion and fear, is what's gotten us here today. And we have a beautiful new world ahead of us, and it's time to step into that and get out of the trauma of the past. And that's this Virgo is about that. Virgo is like really cleaning up and healing and nurturing, and being an earth sign. It's just a powerful energy. So really amazing full moon. I hope you can join me for the live activation. That's going to be happening. So the full moon is Thursday, March 1st in the evening, 6:52 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. The live activation, and if you catch it on the replay, you don't have to get there live. If your intention to join, you'll still get the activation even on the replay. But I'm going to do the live activation on February 28th, the day before, Wednesday, February 28th at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So just exactly 24 hours before that full moon. So we can just really get into the energy and set our course right and make the most of what the universe is trying to speak to us about, coming in to our goddess power and claiming the power and beauty of love and purity in our heart and soul, and releasing ourselves from the stories of our ancestors and of the societal conditioning and the control energies on the planet that want to keep us in trauma and want to keep us victimized. So I hope you'll join me for that live activation, live even on the replay, and I'll put that information to sign up below. So enjoy this time. Pisces can be really weird. Don't try to figure too much out. Just sit tight and let the messages come in. Don't try to analyze too much. Just feel that connection with source. Dream and vision that world that you want, and sit tight. And the energy is going to shift a lot on the 7th when Mercury and Venus move into Aries. Then we're going to kind of like come up out of this confusion and delusion of this Pisces energy and kind of make sense of what's been happening. So just sit tight and let it happen, and set that course towards that new age that is the release from fear and terror and victimization and into empowerment. So thanks so much for joining me. I look forward to seeing you on the live activation. Until next time, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.